Hello there, my name is Josh and I'm here to give you a tutorial about how to make a game in Python using the Pygame module. This will be a beginners to advanced game development. We will be first starting to learn how to create windows and sprites, and then we'll get up to more advanced things like multi-rendering, sprite rendering. We will also get up to different scenes like main menus, maybe different worlds as well, saving and loading. All of that will be in this playlist that I will be creating. I will hopefully target myself to create one video every week. If not, they will be around the same time. So for now, let's get started in how to use Pygame in PyCharm. So this IDE that I'm using is PyCharm right now. It is a very good IDE to use. It's got autocorrection and text highlighting and will help you with a lot of things and automatically create a Python interpreter for you called a virtual environment, and it contains all of your pip modules and the Pygame interpreter built into it. At the end of this playlist we will be creating an executable and hopefully being able to ship the game off. I will create a GitHub repository for this game and I will share it in the link in the description. I will also share any other of my social medias like my Discord and any other social medias I create, and I will keep you up to date with any other projects I make. So for now, what we will do, we will create a new project. If you load up PyCharm, it will create this page anyway, but if you have a page like this, all you need to do is just click on main menu, file, and new project. We will create a new pure Python project and call it platformer. Whatever directory you want it to be, I'm going to keep it at the same location. I will create a Git repository, but you do not have to click on this button, and you do not have to click on this, but this will just create a Python file for you, a built-in Python file. And why I click it is because it automatically links up the interpreter to this Python file, so you won't have to create the interpreter and link it to this Python file itself. But for you that don't do this, I will show you what it's like if you do not click it. And I want it on this window. There we go. So here is the virtual environment, the .venv file, and that stands for virtual environment, and it can hold the scripts, and that is the Python interpreter with the pip module, and this is where you would install other modules from the internet. So before we get started with any code at all, we will need to import the module. So let's have a look. We are using a built-in module interpreter, and this interpreter is what happens when you use PyCharm. Otherwise you'd have to do it all manually. So what we will do, we have our interpreter already automatically made, so we will quickly install Pygame module, and instead of Pygame itself we will use the community edition. It has more features and is a lot faster than the original Pygame due to it being less programmed on. So the community edition is what I would recommend for everyone. You can use it with Pygame itself, so any person that wants to just use the original Pygame module can be able to copy the exact same code. There is no difference at all. So let's get started. We will have a main file inside of our project directory, so our project name is platform. We will create a new file and call this main. It will automatically give it the extension of Python file, and yes, we want to always add it to the GitHub. That window won't pop up for you. So in here we will touch nothing. I want to explain what my plan is for this game. So we will have different files to hold different classes. I am more used to object-oriented programming, using class-based for every file. So what I will use is I will hold a settings file to hold all of the global variables and the global initializers and the imports. And then we will have other classes for the engine, the entities, the tiles. All of that will be in different files and the folders. So we will create a new folder, or the directory as it's called, and we will call it source, because source means the source code. And then in there we would make a new entity a new engine component. This is where, not really game-wise, but it's needed to create the bases of the game. So in here we will add a settings file, and this is where we will have all the global variables, so all the files can collect that type of data. For now, we will change it in next couple of episodes when we will introduce file loading and saving systems. So we will just implement a base variables, so like the window resolution, the title, maybe the version if you want. But right now I am going to quickly import Pygame PG, because I prefer calling it PG, it's more quicker. And in here we will also make a constant variable, and it's not really needed to be capitals, but it's more Pythonic. It's the Python way of programming. The variables that do not change always stay in capitals. So res means resolution, and it's the width and the height. And that equals, the default width and height will be 1080 by 720. So we're 720 pixels wise, or 720p. And the title will be a string, and that will be called platformer. Just a simple platformer. I always like to capitalize my first letters. So there is no really massive changes. We will, in here though, add a new Python file called window, and this is where, always lowercase the file names, I'm too used to Java. In this we will be able to visualize what we will do. So let's quickly import our settings folder file. We will import our settings file, and we will start from here. We've got to go to the source file folder, then to the engine folder, and then to settings. So that's how it goes. It starts from the main file and then goes from there to here. So we are in the main files directory. So we're in this directory right now. We need to go from source, and then we need to go in that folder to engine, and in that folder to get the settings file, and then we need to import everything. Let's make that more correct. So we have now imported everything from settings. So we've now basically taken all these variables and placed it in this file from that one line. Next things to do is to create a class. Now, I'm not going to teach you about the basics of Python. I would hopefully expect you to know Python. If you do not, I really recommend learning it from a website called W3 Schools, a very good website to learn Python or any other programming languages. If you guys do want to know how to program in just Python itself, tell me and I will create a new playlist for Python beginners. So, we are going to use object-oriented programming for most of our files. I'll tell you why it's most of them. And when we make a class, it's going to always be a capital. So this is a capital window for a window class. And then we will create a initializer, or the constructor, and we will give it a self.win for window equals pg for pygame.display, and then we will set the mode, also known as creating the window. And this takes in the resolution as a tuple, but we already have a built-in tuple for our res. And we will also give it the title, so pg.display. And the caption is the title, basically. They should have preferred to call it title or create window, but it's whatever the Python or Pygame community wants to call it. And after this, we will... don't think we need to do anything after that. So let's create a 4 functions. So the event handler, will hold all of the events that happen. So mainly we would focus on the window events. So let's loop through the events. We need to get them. And then we need to check if the event type is equal to the quit button or the X button at the top. That is what quit means. And if that is true, we need to first pygame.quit. And if you want to be even more cool, let's import this in settings so other files can collect this data. We will import system, and for later use we will also import OS for operating system, mainly for our folder locations. It will be a bit confusing, but for now, just trust me. And we will do system.exit, so we will exit from this program. Otherwise, it probably won't garbage collect all of it. Nothing really to worry about if you're just learning Python. But for now, if you do, just preferably do this. We need to also render, and we will render nothing for now. But we will update the screen, so pg.display.flip. Flip is just to update the whole display, and update is to update half or part of the square, whatever you give it. If not, it would just call the flip function. So there's 2 ways of updating the screen. It's either flip or update. They both do the same thing, but as you can see, for the arguments of update, it needs a rectangle. Not needs. It prefers a rectangle, so you can update a part of the window. But if you want to update the whole window, you just flip it. And then after we do this, we will have an update function that really does nothing now, so we'll pass in it. And then a run function. And this is where the main game loop will happen. So we need a loop, so while true. People like to do while running. I prefer true, but you can use a boolean variable if you want. I will just use this, self dot. We will always check for the events first, every start of the frame. Then we will update it. So we update the player's position, and we'll update the entity's position, the tile's position. And then after that, we want to display everything to the new frame or to the window. So we'll just call the self.render method. So now, if we try and run this, nothing will happen because it's just a class that's not being used. So in the main file, we will from source, engine, window, the window class, and main. So if you don't use PyCharm, you will have to type this manually. So if _name, so __name __ is equal to the string of __main __, then we will call the function. So window equals the window class and call it, and then we will call the run method, window.run. Now in here it runs, and there's the window. It's got our title, it's got the closing thing, but if I go to this file, so I edit something in this file and try to run, it's not going to work because it's trying to run from this file and not the main. So let's go here, edit configurations, and let's add a new Python we're going to use our interpreter that you're using. So this one is 3.12 platform. There's the exact same one here. I've got others, but use the one that you're using on this project right now. And this here is trying to locate where the main file is, or what file you want to run. So in here we will go in our platformer and click our main file, and so when we click OK and play, it is now running whatever's in this file here while we are editing something in another file. So it's just a good thing to do. You can always just not use that. When it says current file, it just means the file that you're on, but every time you edit something you'll have to go back to the main file to change or to play. But I prefer this, it's more easier, and that means you can also get rid of this tab. Don't delete the file, just get rid of the tab at the top. And for now, I don't think we need to use settings anymore, so we'll get rid of this. So this is a basic window that shows up. I will show you how to make images on the screen and also change the window color. So it will be a better loop and a better way to program everything. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Make sure to comment down if you want to see anything else or if I did something wrong. There is also my Discord in the link and my GitHub repository for this project. Thank you guys all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And goodbye.